I was right. I was right.
Flashback.
This shot of Zoro facing Emu head to head, which it looks like Emu is not as big as we theorized the last few weeks. We thought he was at least on par with the giants in size. But as we can see later, he appears to be able to change his size at will right now.
End of flashback.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of a theorist myself. Anyways, putting my massively overinflated ego aside for now, we go back to the chapter where it opens up with a flashback where Harold was talking to Loki at their last conversation, telling him that he's the worst king of Elbaf and that being his legacy, which really massively pissed off Loki for quite a time, making him go to the outside world and rampage for like 8 years or whatever, just charging at world government vessels indiscriminately, which also affected Emu massively, which he states right here, saying that the one who suffered most from the death of Harold was Emu himself, which is a pretty narcissistic thing to say to someone who had to kill his own father for the sake of the future of the country. Saying you were the one who was most affected by it is a little much, but it is within Emu's character, so the split personality thing from also last week may not be the case, probably, but we'll see about that some other time. But for right now, Loki starts charging up his attack, summoning lightning from the clouds above him on some "begone with the thunderclap" type. All the while remembering his father's last words to him and what they meant, and we see how much they resonated with Loki. And we get a curious shot of the massive sword that pierces Elbaf itself, which intrigues me.
This hidden power of yours intrigues me, and now that I know about it, I'm determined to see it for myself.
To no end. Why is this sword here? What's the significance? Will it be used? Will it be something that will be utilized against Emu or by Emu? I'd love to see that. Then we see Ragnir channeling the lightning and Loki coming with a massive swing at Emu. But this black fire from Emu's behind spawns some sort of demon that blocks the attack for him, causing massive shockwaves to go all around Elbaf. With Sanji here getting ragdolled and having to be saved by Lilith and Bonnie, which I know he wouldn't mind if he was conscious. And Emu comes out unscathed from this exchange, then proceeds to gigantify while explaining the source of his power, I think, saying Omen is Mu's military might. What's that supposed to mean? Is it like the more he gives people more contracts, the more powerful he himself becomes? So it's a two-way deal. The recipients of the contract receive immortality and enhanced strength, while Emu himself gets stronger from it? Maybe, but we'll have to wait and see if that's the case. Then Emu charges again with another hellspawn of black flame, clashing with Loki on equal footing nonetheless. Then he winds up above him and holy Mihawk upscale. Just kidding. But seriously, he stabs Loki right through the chest with a sword resembling Yoru, calling it Nemesis, which is pretty interesting. Emu seems to be able to adapt and change his weaponry and even fighting style depending on the situation. I mean, he seems pretty proficient with a lot of different equipment and weaponry to such a degree you wouldn't expect it from someone who was sitting on his ass for 800 years. But clearly he's no joke. He keeps yapping about strength and what it means, how people crave it, and that achieving it is easy if you accept corruption in your heart, which seems a little on the nose. I mean, really? The shadow ruler of the world derives his strength from corruption? Okay, Oda, I see you. But that seems to be only one part of the equation for it. Corruption, which he demonstrates quite masterfully with the way he handles the world government. Covenant, which I think we have already established that through Covenant he himself achieves new levels of power, and power itself, which translators note seems to refer to Omen, this Maki thing, which he was spamming ever since he came to Elbaf, calling the combination of those three Dominion, which, okay, I guess, but not much to talk about just yet. All this is pretty neat and all, but so far it seems a little just surface level. We're not getting any deeper insight on what makes Emu tick, but we might be getting just that very soon, as we see later in the chapter, but we'll get to it. He shoots another exploding face at Loki, which he tanks pretty well, all the while offering him the power to be stronger, which Loki promptly refuses, while also pointing out that what Imu is offering him is not godly guidance, but more of a deal with the devil, which Imu fails to distinguish the differences of. And then we see what I was talking about earlier, about having a deeper look at Imu's thought process as he flashbacks to presumably himself talking to Joy Boy, of all people. At least we assume it is, because of the shape of the silhouette appearing to have a distinguished straw hat. Then it is confirmed right in the next page where we see him calling out Joy Boy by name, seeing the resemblance of Loki's determination, Joy Boy's mentality. Even though throughout the series we saw that a whole multitude of characters have referred to Luffy as Joy Boy, and among them those characters that have already known Joy Boy, like Zunisha and Emeth, the Iron Giant, which they blatantly called that Luffy awakening his Gear 5 is the definitive return of Joy Boy. But we see here that Imu is associating Loki with Joy Boy this time, which is pretty interesting considering how we got introduced to Loki, calling himself the sun god of destruction. So what could this entail? Only time will tell. But now we cut to Luffy, who's eating his heart out, stating that he'll not be able to win this fight unless he eats literally everything. So, in the next few chapters, we're probably gonna see a 100% Luffy going all out against Imu, which is very intriguing indeed. And in the last page of the chapter, we see that Loki have successfully landed a clean hit on Imu, which sends him flying tens of miles away. We can't forget that this is Elbaf and everything is gigantic. The distance this attack has just covered is just insane if you really think about it. And then we see that Imu himself is bleeding. So does this mean that Loki is using the form of Conqueror's Haki that can damage immortals? Or is Imu different from the rest of his clique, where he doesn't have the regenerative ability that he can bestow on others for himself? He might be immortal, but he cannot regenerate. Interesting. Then we see Loki transform into his full zone form, the Nidhogg, and charges a Boro breath-like attack, calling it Thorheim, straight at Imu, which he blocks successfully. And then we see that Imu is intrigued and potentially having fun with this fight, which is an emotion that we don't see from Imu all that often. Never really. He's either stoic, angry, distraught, but now he seems excited. This chapter was pretty hype. It was short, but impactful. Next week is gonna be a break week, apparently, for Golden Week in Japan. So this might give me some time to prepare myself a little better next time. And maybe just make some new videos. Just doing casual shit. Anyways, I'm not gonna blabber all day, so I guess that's just about it. Bye!